757 spin number the truth. Back to y'all with another video. And today we're going to be talking about Deshaun Watson and why this trade was very pivotal for the Cleveland Browns. As you know, the Cleveland Browns were in the running from for Deshaun Watson to be taken out of the race. Then reversal, they ended up getting Deshaun Watson. Surprise! But what a few days, a lot of excitement, a lot of drama, especially for the Cleveland Browns organization. It's definitely an upgrade at quarterback. And they Andrew Berry and Jimmy and D. Haslam and Coach Stefanski said they did extensive research on the Deshaun Watson allegations, and it was a clear hurdle when he didn't get convicted by a grand jury related to the sexual misconduct allegation, and that was a huge hurdle to overcome. And the Browns threw the bank at him. You can't turn down a 5-year deal, $248 million, all of it guaranteed, especially for somebody who's Deshaun Watson. And it's actually a smart move by somebody like an Andrew Berry to give up 3 first-round picks, a third rounder in 2023, and a 4th rounder in 2024. Especially knowing that you upgraded that quarterback. Baker Mayfield, he's an average quarterback. He can only take you so far. With the Deshaun Watson, you have a chance to make it into the possibly reaching the Super Bowl for the first time in organization history. The Cleveland Browns, they're in a tough AFC North, and they know that. They're competing against somebody like a Joe Burrow, a Lamar Jackson. You're going to need somebody special, and that somebody special is a Deshaun Watson. And this was a critical move for this organization. They asked to have a grown-up in the room. And I think Deshaun Watson is that grown-up in the room. Now, we don't know what the suspension might be for Deshaun Watson, because he's possibly will be facing a suspension from the league office. I know he was in the commissioner exempt list, but I think he's probably going to face maybe a 4 or 5 game suspension. But I think the Cleveland Browns are willing to pay that toll for somebody like a Deshaun Watson. It was kind of confusing at first because there was a lot of teams like Atlanta mentioned, and the Saints, who were the 2 front runners for Deshaun Watson. And I'm just wondering what was the price that they weren't willing to pay for somebody like a Deshaun Watson. Well, I wonder why they didn't throw the bank at him, or why they didn't throw in the amount of picks or compensation that the Browns were willing to do. But this is the Cleveland Browns. This was not a big trade. This is not a big destination for free agents or trade people to get traded to. So just knowing that this isn't a destination that people want to go to, I think the Cleveland Browns had no other choice. They know this opportunity in the roster that they have that is still young and it's probably in its prime. This is the opportunity now, and this was the smartest move I think the Cleveland Browns have done in franchise history. This is a franchise-changing move to me, and I know the AFC North is going to be the toughest division in the NFL besides the AFC West, because the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks, and if you don't have somebody like a Deshaun Watson in that division, let alone in that conference, I don't see as an organization like the Cleveland Browns, you're going to make that next step forward in making the Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield, he's a good quarterback. I know he played through he was banged up last season with his foot, and he tore his labrum in his left shoulder. But at times, he didn't show you why he was that guy. He let you down a little bit in terms of his actions and the plays he was making. It's going to be interesting who's the trade partner for somebody like a Baker Mayfield, or let alone is he probably going to even be just flat out released from the Browns organization, because that's what probably I wouldn't be surprised if he's just released. The Cleveland, looking at that roster, when you have a Kareem Hunt, you got a Nick Chubb, you got a Myles Garrett, and they acquired Amari Cooper, who you can say if he's the number 1 wide receiver, sometimes he doesn't give his best effort. Sometimes he doesn't always show up in big games. He's still Amari Cooper. He's still a top 20 wide receiver. He's a great route runner. I think Deshaun Watson's going to get the best out of him compared to a Dak Prescott, And let's be honest, Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback than a Dak Prescott. But this organization has made a big move. This was a pivotal move, especially playing in a division with a Lamar Jackson and a Joe Burrow. You seen what Joe Burrow did in the playoffs, the plays that he made with his feet and with his arm and his legs. You see Lamar Jackson, what he done with his arms and his legs. And Baker Mayfield, he's not that athletic. He has an average arm. His decision making at times is definitely troublesome at times, and he couldn't connect with wide receivers like a Odell Beckham and a Jarvis Landry. And you see that when Odell left, you see him thrive in the Los Angeles Rams system. So it's just going to be interesting now that the Cleveland Browns have an upgrade at quarterback, what this team possibly can be. I think this defense is playing defense. The Cleveland Browns have a top 10 defense. They have a Ward. They have a Myles Garrett. Jadeveon Clowney might be a casualty for the Cleveland Browns in free agency, but he had a huge season for them. The rookie last Anusu was a great first round pick for them. So this is a team that is primed. It's ready to go. I think they're a Super Bowl caliber team, depending if he faces suspension, facing suspension, which might highly be a possibility, depending on how the civil case might go. To see if Deshaun Watson might settle in court, or is he going to fight it all the way through. But depending on the situation, I do believe the Cleveland Browns, this was their opportunity. And he was, before he got suspended in one of the trade requests from the Houston Texans, he was ranked the #1 quarterback by PFF. And Deshaun Watson definitely is that game changer. He's definitely going to make those plays. I do think this is a Super Bowl caliber team. It's just going to be a hard division. He's probably, to me, Deshaun Watson probably it's like hard with this division, man. You want to say Deshaun Watson, to me, is the best quarterback in this division, but I wouldn't say that because we don't know what this team can be yet with him as quarterback. As we know, Joe Burrow, he led his team into the Super Bowl, so I gotta put him as the top quarterback. I love Lamar. I know Lamar won an MVP, but winning games in the playoffs is a big thing. And Joe Burrow did that in his first run going to the playoffs. He took his team to the Super Bowl, and they almost won it. So just knowing that, I do think Joe Burrow is probably the top quarterback, followed by Lamar. And I got to put Deshaun Watson as number 3, just because we haven't seen him in a year, even though he was ranked #1 before the suspension and before he wanted out of the Houston Texans, and followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers, who to me are going to probably going to go through a carousel of quarterbacks, because I think Mitch Trubisky, even though he spent a little time with Brian Dable, Bill Dable, Brian Dable, I still think he's still not that guy in terms of that quarterback position with Mitch Trubisky and whoever else is on that roster. They just don't compare, especially with a Mason Rudolph, and it's just not going to make sense for somebody like the Steelers to compete with somebody like a Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and they have no chance. So just coming back, that I do think this was a great trade I do think this is a great trade for the Cleveland Browns. I do think this was a great aggressive move. I think this was the time for now. They're thinking Super Bowl bust, and I do think a lot of teams are looking at the Rams and thinking, man, what is the point of having these first round picks if they might not turn out to be a Deshaun Watson, if they might not turn out to be a Von Miller? There's no point of keeping these picks when you can get guys who you know can play already. And I think I think the league is watching how the Rams built their teams, and this was a great aggressive move by the Cleveland Browns. You can say what you want about Deshaun Watson. He was cleared by the grand jury related to the allegations, and he just has to go through the civil lawsuits and stuff like that and get that cleared. So, or if it's going to clear, whatever he does, if he settles in court. So that's going to be a huge next step and hurdle. And then another hurdle is what's going to be the punishment by the commissioner, because the the whole league is watching, and the whole league and image is already going to be a little fragile in that situation. So give me your thoughts, your opinions. Tone out. Thank you.